at least for those who are frank about it, they're actually going to tell you to the face, don't be an entrepreneur. I mean, NVIDIA's Jensen Huang said, don't do this.
Don't do
I don't
this, yeah.
recommend this.
Yeah.
So I want to hear your story. Why be an entrepreneur? And for those who eventually must do it, because I think sometimes people, it's like a survival thing, not just something they dream about. What would you recommend? And yeah, just want to hear your story.
All right. Gonna try to be, practical. Although we can talk about emotions and stuff, but it's very, very subjective. I don't think people can benefit from that. Well, I used to give a lecture about why not being a startup and an entrepreneur. It's not a depressing, it's funny actually, a funny presentation. But when you look at the statistics, but without you taking all the peeling off all the layers of marketing and things you probably put in the media, is that it's globally something like 1 to 2,400 startups that are successful. Successful is, by the way, a secondary, some kind of liquidation or something that the original founders can get more than $10 million before tax. Okay, that's my criteria for success, because, I can always work for Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook, whatever, and make probably 3 times more than I make as a startup entrepreneur. So during all those years, you lose a lot of money eventually. So you need to be compensated somehow. And we're just talking about really just capital wise, without all, there's a lot of benefits, all right, to do something, to fail, to succeed, to all this roller coaster is also, we'll talk about it. But, just very strict KPIs, like how do you measure success of a startup? You count how much, compensation, how much money the founders receive from it. And then you will see that it's about 1 to 20, 24, 2,500, 2,500 companies to 1. That's not a good ratio. and there's a lot of reasons for that. It's not my job. There's a lot of analysts and things that has access to more data than I have. But understanding this ratio, you do understand you're going to fail. All right. So you're probably going to fail, and probably going to fail several times. Like even if you do it, more than once, or so. This is something you need to be built for, because you put a lot of your time and effort, and you give away your hobbies, and you give away a lot of time with your family and your friends and things that people like to do, and you give it to your company, because there's a very big difference. It's very personal, but on an average, founders, the company is their baby in some way. They put a lot of effort, they care about it, they have a lot of equity also. Like they want to be eventually compensated, they want to be the heroes. There's a lot of potential benefits from being a successful entrepreneur. But the road is very difficult, all right? And we call it bipolar disorder, all right? Because you're constantly in bipolar disorder, going up and down and up and down, and it can happen, within 2 hours. Like you have 1 good hour with a customer, and then 1 bad hour with an investors, and you're up and you're down again, and then you're up and you're down again. So you need to be resilient enough in order to absorb all of those changes and maintain, we call it mellow, like you need to be mellow. You need somehow
Stable.
Exactly. Not to be, not to crash every time, or, be completely, out of it just because you had a really good success.